Good morning and welcome to Crypto Charts Daily. This is the Crypto Charts Daily Report. Today is Monday, September 15th, 2025. Let's get right into it. As you guys can see, the market is slipping under $4 trillion. The CMC 20 is also decreasing 1.5%. Fear and greed sitting neutral. Altcoin season 72 out of 100 as the crypto RSI is becoming oversold. That's interesting. We're going to check it out on the charts. It does look like we are at a make or break moment for Bitcoin and the altcoins. And if we end up getting rejected out of these newest resistance zones, this could be the end for a long time. So stick around to see what I mean, and let's get right into it. It is also Meme Coin Monday, guys. If you're unfamiliar, we do analysis on the top 3 meme coins every Monday. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned to the end of the video. Jumping into the technicals here on Bitcoin, we did say all week we wanted to see the close above 113,500. We did, and now we're getting resistance exactly at that order block, that change character broke this little internal low here. So this is a change of character, and now this bullish candle, the last bullish and the last bearish, become an order block, and it's hitting into that order block exactly to the point as we predicted here over the past few weeks. We'd come into this order block and see resistance. So that's exactly what's going on. Right out of this order block, we're seeing resistance right at these highs here. So if we end up getting rejected out of this order block and this higher time frame resistance, we do want to look for the break of these lows, to then go test that higher time frame support. And that would be completely normal and healthy to do. And to be honest, the price of 104,000 for people that have been in the space for a while, this wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I'm sure a lot of people will start panicking at this point. But we are just going to, look for the break and retest here. If we do end up breaking these lows in the next coming days, look for the test of the support. It does appear like today's candle went for the test of resistance one more time. And if we do close bearish, then I would expect a push for lows. If we do end up seeing strength though, I want to see a close within this resistance, within this order block, and then go push to break highs. Jumping onto the 4-hour, you can see our order block here working perfectly. The order block that broke lows and changed character here, stepping down. So we do want to see a break now of this high of 117,400. And if we could close above there on the day, that would indicate strength. But again, guys, if we do end up closing bearish, we'll look for the break of lows. Ethereum, we did say we wanted to see the high of 4,500 break and see strength past highs. I did say we could get resistance here at these highs, and that's exactly what's happening. We broke above these order blocks, swept the liquidity, and now we possibly could go test these lows. If we close bearish in the next few days, I would expect that. If price ends up reversing here though and closing bullish on the day, again, just look for the break of these highs or price to continue testing resistance at these highs here. Looking at the 4-hour, we could see our order block that price accumulated in, and now it's looking to push past highs. But we do see continued rejection of this high of $4,600. It seems to be matching perfectly with this order block here on the 4-hour. And now it does appear that Ethereum is just trading between these higher time frame support and resistance order blocks. XRP, we were looking for the flip of the support and resistance here, and I did say break and retest. Unfortunately, price is perfectly getting rejected out of that resistance, that order block that we marked out Friday. And if we do end up closing bearish on the day and testing this support, we're just going to look to see how price reacts to this support. Obviously, if we end up breaking below it, that's not going to be a good sign, guys, and we could be in for some pain. Looking at the 4-hour on XRP, we can see our resistance zone here, our order block. We are getting rejected out of it. And again, guys, just looking for that break and retest. Jumping into the altcoins here, starting with Binance Coin, we did end up just accumulating into a blow off, and now I would definitely look for price to retrace into these lows, into higher time frame support in the higher time frame order blocks, take out this accumulation and this liquidity we just built up over the past few days. So that's what we'll be looking for. We'll either look for continued strength to go test resistance and keep breaking highs, or we'll look for that pullback. Solana, wow, what a call out, guys. We did just say it could accumulate into a breakout over the past few weeks to 260, and wow, we almost did reach 260. Looks like we stopped just short at 250. But again, guys, same as every other coin here, going to look for the retest of this support at 187, or we're just going to look for continued strength and look for price to keep pushing up to test resistance. Cardano, unfortunately, going for that break and retest a little bit sooner than expected here. So we will just look for price to retest this flip, this order block, or retest higher time frame support. But it does look like we got rejected at highs again. Pay attention to the order block here. We are just getting rejected out of that order block. So we'll see how price trades in between the support and resistance here. If price ends up reacting nicely to 84 cents here, I'd look for these highs to break of 95 cents. If we end up closing within the support or closing bearish on the day, I'd look for the push to test support. Chainlink here, same story as every other coin. We got the break of those highs, but it could and it does just end up looking like a sweep here on a lot of these pairs. And if we end up closing bearish under this support and resistance, under this order block here, I'd look for the push to these lows of $20 and the eventual push to test higher time frame support. If we do end up wicking and closing the day above 23,721, I'd expect price though to go test resistance some more, and we'll just look for continued strength. Stellar Lumens, we did say we'd look for the test of this resistance. It looks like we're getting rejected, and this is why it's such a big make or break moment for a lot of these altcoins here, guys. We are testing resistance on a lot of the pairs. And if we just continue to get rejected at these price levels, we are in for a world of pain and a bit of a retracement here. If we get continued strength though over the next few days and push above the high of 41 cents here, we'll look for that break and retest. But as of right now, we are getting rejected at that 40-cent price level. So we'll look for the lows to break of 34 cents. Avalanche, guys, doing exactly what we thought. We got the impulsive blow off. We're testing imbalance here. And over the next few days, just look for strength to keep testing resistance. Or if we end up closing below this imbalance now of $25, look for price to then go test support. Hedra H-bar, much like Stellar Lumens, getting rejected here at our break and retest of this support and resistance flip at 23 cents. We did break above, and now today, if we end up closing bearish below this hopefully support here, if we end up closing bearish below this support, it will become resistance again, and we will continue to push down. If we could wick though and close bullish, look for strength on this support for a push past 25 cents. I would say though, guys, it is not looking good for a lot of these coins. If we do get rejected at this area of 23 cents, there's a long way to go. If we do end up wicking though, closing bullish, look for the break of 25 cents. So then we could go test higher time frame resistance. Polkadot getting resistance at these highs here, unfortunately. Look for the test of this small imbalance, but if we end up closing below that, we'll probably go test higher time frame support. If we get strength though, at the end of the day or in the next coming days, look for this high to break of $4.60. Wow, Uniswap, unlike the other coins, no strength here. Ended up getting rejected over the weekend at these highs. No push to the order block or resistance, and we are just going straight for the sweep here. Price could end up wicking in this order block again in the next few days after sweeping all this accumulation. And if we do end up doing that, I'd look for some bullish closures for then the push to highs. But if we end up closing below the low of 860, then I'd expect price to come down for this higher time frame support of about $6.60. So it's really not looking good for Uniswap here if we don't start getting strength to close above these highs here. Ondo Finance, the break of this 90 to $1 cent. I said it again. the break of this 90 cent to dollar zone here, looking for the retest. Guys, this was not really a significant break. We wanted to see much more strength in that. We wanted to see a push past highs. We can look for this retest now of $1, but if we end up closing below $1 here, again, look for the test and the eventual push back down into higher time frame support. Obviously, if we end up retesting this nicely and bouncing, look for strength to push past these relative highs, and then we could go test resistance. Polygon, same thing as always, looking for that break of 30 cents. Looks like we're getting rejected. I did say it would be better to go retrace, take out some liquidity, test higher time frame support. So again, we'll look for that retest over the next few days, or we'll look for the break and retest of 30 cents. Algorand, unfortunately, just like Hedra and Stellar Lumens, the other ISO coins, we did end up getting rejected in this higher time frame resistance up here. And now we'll just look for the retest of that zone. Unfortunately, it's not looking very strong. And we do have a lot of liquidity now built up on this 4-hour order block and on this higher time frame support. But again, over the next few days, just look for price to be strong off this area and the push to break highs of 26 cents. If we end up closing bearish below 22 cents, we'll end up pushing down for a bigger retracement here and test perhaps higher time frame support here. Quant, same story, no strength over the weekend, unfortunately, for Quant. Sweeping this relative high that broke this low here and now heading down to test resistance, or excuse me, test support one more time. We'll see how price reacts to this lows. If price closes below this low of $95, I'd expect price to run down to about $80 support. If we end up seeing strength though and closing above the high of 106, I expect price to go test resistance. IOTA, unfortunately, sweeping out that order block, so we are just trading in between support and resistance here. If we end up closing below the low of 17 cents though, I'd expect price to run down and sweep out liquidity and test higher time frame support. If we end up closing above this high of 20 cents though, I'd look for the run to highs and higher time frame resistance. XDC, nothing new, no movement, no strength, low volume coin for right now, but trading beautifully between these support and resistance zones that we've had marked for a while here. So just looking for the test of that 6-cent zone for the push up to 10 cents. All right, guys, starting off with the meme coins, we got the big one here, Dogecoin. It did end up breaking the high of 25 cents, like we said on Friday, making a big push here for resistance. And we are now seeing some rejection already here. And we did end up filling this resistance over here, like we said on Friday. Now that we closed above this high, I'd look for continued strength to then go test this resistance here. Or if we end up closing bearish, probably below this small order block here of 23 cents. If we end up closing below that, I'd look for the test of higher time frame support here. And we do have this order block that it appears is our new support, as well as this higher time frame support at 20 cents. Shiba Inu, just like Doge, did end up pushing past the highs here, but we didn't end up closing above the highs. So this is just a sweep of this order block here, and we are getting rejected pretty hard here. If we end up closing bearish today, I would expect price to then go test this support over the next few days. If we do end up wicking and closing bullish on the day, or just seeing strength over the next few days, look for this high to break for then the test of higher time frame resistance. All right, guys, Pepe, just like Shiba Inu, did end up chalking here, creating this support and resistance flip, pushing up to the highs. We did say look for the run to break highs, or look for the run to test resistance. It does look like we are wicking, same thing as Shiba here, wicking out in this order block, getting rejected. And if we end up closing bearish on the day, I would expect price to then go break lows and test higher time frame support. If we end up closing bullish though, over the next few days, just look for the high of this order block to break and then go test higher time frame resistance. All right, guys, that concludes the Crypto Chart Daily Report today. Crypto Charts Daily Report. All right, guys, that concludes the Crypto Charts Daily Report for today. I hope you guys understand the severity of the moment we're in. This daily candle, if it closes bearish, we could see a push down to higher time frame supports on pretty much every single coin, and especially the altcoins. If we get rejected at this higher time frame resistance, we could see a bigger retracement here in the markets. So with that being said, guys, subscribe to stay updated, like and comment. It helped me beat the AI channels. Again, if you appreciate I'm a real person, smash that like button and stay tuned for tomorrow's episode. All right, guys. Peace out.